All right, welcome to the next part of this, starting page 5. We're going to find the slope given 2 points. The slope formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I particularly don't like this because I always get confused as to which variable to put where. So I came up with this quick little trick myself. I just take the point, take one point, put it right on top of the other, and find out how this number gets to this number. Okay, 7 plus or minus what gets me to 7? Well, 7 plus 0 gets me to 7. And over here, negative 1 to 3, how do I get from negative 1 to 3? Negative 1 plus 4 gets me to 3. And I take the 0 over 4, and that's my slope. Well, 0 divided by 4 is actually 0. And we know the slope is 0, which is a horizontal line. We knew that also by looking at the y-coordinates. The y-coordinates are the same, so the slope is 0. Again, we do the same thing. Pick any point. It doesn't matter if I put this one on top or the other. So I'm going to take this point, put it on top of that. How do I get from 5 to negative 1? Well, 5 minus 6 gets me to negative 1, so I put the minus 6 up there. Negative 2 to 1, how do I get there? Well, negative 2 plus 3 gets me to 1, so negative 6 over 3. Okay, reduce that down, get negative 2, that's my slope. Okay, and this one, take the 1 point, put it on top of the other. How do I get from negative 1 to 3? Well, negative 1 plus 2 gets me to 3, and that goes on top. Okay, negative 2 to negative 2, well, doesn't change at all, so it's negative 2 plus 0 gets me there, and 0 on the bottom of the fraction goes there. Well, can't divide by 0, so the answer is undefined, and the answer is undefined right there. And again, looking back at our notes from a couple of pages ago, if the x-coordinates are the same, it is a vertical line and it is undefined. Okay, and a quick and easy way to get the slope from the standard form equation is negative a over b. Just identify a and b, get the negative of a, put it over b, and that's the slope. Okay, and again, get the negative to identify a and b, the negative of a over b, put that there, and that's our slope. Negative over negative is positive. Okay, write an equation given the graph line. Well, first thing I do is find the slope, pick 2 points. How do I get from this point to this point? I go up 2 over 3. That's my slope, 2 over 3, and it crosses at negative 2, which is my y-intercept. So I just write it in slope-intercept form. Y equals 2/3 x minus 2. This is a vertical line, so we know that only has the x in the variable, and it crosses at negative 3, so x equals negative 3. This right here is a horizontal line, and it's only got a y in it, and we just know it's y equals some constant, and that constant is going to be a 2 because it crosses at 2. Okay, parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines are exactly the same slope, and perpendicular lines have negative reciprocal slopes. So again, first thing I do is find the slope of this line, and then I can go ahead and find the other things. Okay, so get 10, opposite of 10 over 6 is negative 10 over 6. Reduce that to negative 5/3. So the slope of this line is negative 5/3. Well, parallel lines are exactly the same slope, so I just write parallel m equals negative 5/3. And finally, perpendicular m, you got to put m there. Perpendicular m is negative reciprocals. Basically, I do is flip this number upside down and change the sign. Well, negative 5/3 becomes 3 over 5, and take the sign away, or take the negative sign away, and it becomes positive. Okay, same thing here. Take the opposite of a, put it over b, negative 2 over negative 1, reduce that to 2 over 1. So the slope is 2 over 1, parallel slope is 2 over 1, and I take the negative reciprocal to get the perpendicular m, so I flip it upside down and change the sign, I get negative 1/2. Okay, if a line, a perpendicular line to here, well, this is a horizontal line, and something that's perpendicular to a horizontal, well, it has to be vertical, and the slope of a vertical line is also undefined. Okay, next part. Okay, if a line with an equation right here, ax minus 2y is equal to 5, is perpendicular to a line with this equation, well, first thing I do is I find this slope, and I find this slope. So negative a over b right there becomes 2a over 2 when I simplify. And this one's line's slope is, well, negative 1/3. Okay, well, if these two lines are perpendicular to each other, therefore the slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. So I'm just going to take this and make this a negative reciprocal, flip that over and change the sign, and set it equal to this one. Set that equal, right there, a over 2 equals 3 over 1, cross multiply, and I get a over a equals 6. Okay, same thing over here. I go ahead and find a over the opposite of A over B, right there. Simplify, I get A over 6 is the slope of this line, okay? And I do the same thing. I get negative 2 over 3 is the slope of this line, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and set them, I'll get the negative reciprocal of this one and set it equal to that. So I flip that over, get 3 over 2, and set it equal to A over 6 right there. Again, cross multiply and solve. I get 2A equals 18, A equals 9. Okay, over here, finally, I do the same thing. I get A, opposite of A, over 5, right there. Go over here. And I can simplify, or I don't have to simplify, it doesn't matter. It'll work its way out. Again, this time the lines are parallel, so these two slopes are identical to each other. So I just go ahead and set them equal to each other. Over here, they're negative reciprocals or perpendicular, so I had to do some work here. It's pretty straightforward. Just set this equal to this, put it right there, cross multiply and divide and get A equals negative 10. Okay. Get on some word problems right here. And the meaning of the slope, okay? Look at this. The amount of money earned and the number of hours worked. Okay? The direct relationship between the amount of hours, there's a direct relationship between the amount of hours worked and the number of hours, so the amount of money earned and the number of hours worked. Think about that. If you're earning $5 an hour, well, you're going to earn more money the more hours you work. Okay? So by looking at that, the amount of money earned for the number of hours worked, you can say it's Y per X. Okay? Y for every X. Okay? Looking at this equation, in number 1 it says, the equation Y equals 0.25x plus 12 represents the relationship between the cost of mailing a package Y and its weight in ounces. What is the real world meaning of the slope? Well, it's 25 cents over 1. You always make it into a fraction. It's Y over X. That's cost per ounces. So 25 cents for every ounce that you're shipping. Okay? In professional basketball, Y equals 0.73. X minus 22 describes the relationship between the rebounds, X, and the free throws attempted, Y. What is the real world meaning? Well, take this number, I'm going to get rid of that decimal and change it to 73 over 100. That means for every 100 rebounds that I make or get, I'm going to be sent to the free throw line 73 times. And I get a total of 73 attempts at the free throw basket. Okay, over here in the Mojave Desert in California, woohoo, the Golden State. Yeah, that's where I'm from. California, the temperature can drop from day to night. Okay, suppose the temperature drops from 100 degrees at 2 p.m. Okay, to 68 degrees at 5 a.m. What is the average rate of change? Well, 5 a.m. and 68, so I'd make that as a point, time and temperature. And where did I come up with a 14 from? Well, you want to use that as military time. Otherwise, it'll get kind of confusing. So from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m., that's a difference in 9 hours. From here to here, it's a difference of 38 degrees. So you can get 32 degrees, 32 degrees, 32 over 9 is approximately 3.5 degrees for every hour. So there's a change of 3.5 degrees every hour. As the sun is going up, it's going to be an increase of 3.5, and as the sun is going down, it's going to be a drop of 3.5 degrees every hour. Okay, last page, we've got a chart over here, people and cost for going for small private group tours. Again, I just take 1 point, people and cost. Again, money is usually a Y number. Time is always an X number. So go ahead and do that. I just take the first 2 points that I see, put them, and again, how do I get from 3 to 5? 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. How do I get from 1185 to 1975? Well, it's an increase of 790. Well, I go 790 over 2 is my slope. Let's figure that out a little bit easier. Divide everything, and I get 395 per one person. That makes a little bit more sense. So for every person you add to your party, you get an increase of 395 in your cost. Okay. Here, find the value of k. So the line that passes through each point has a given slope. Well, this one, I can't use my shortcut. I can, but it just makes it a little bit too tricky, so I go ahead and punch it into this equation. Put in everything where it belongs for y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Again, you want to label this x2, x1, y1, x2, y2. You go ahead and plug that in properly. Simplify a little bit by getting rid of the double negatives. You get that there. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. Now I've got to just go ahead and cross multiply and divide. Cross multiply, I get k plus 5 equals negative 8. Minus 5 on both sides, k equals negative 13. Okay, same thing for this one. Put it into this formula, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Okay, put in everything where it belongs. Simplify a little bit, so you don't want to do that. Then you go ahead and cross multiply. You cross multiply, you go ahead and distribute the 4 right there. And 8 times 3 is 24. You get 32 minus 4k. Go ahead and solve, and you get k equals 2. And finally, in this last one, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know the slope is equal to 0. Well, I can go ahead and skip all this work for all this because I know for a fact that if m equals 0, the slope is that's a horizontal line, and the horizontal line means the y components of the 2 points are equal to each other. So I can say k is equal to negative 4 without doing any work. All right. I hope this helps out. If you guys have questions, I will see you guys tomorrow morning.